it's like a Rolling Stones fan still think like, what if Brian Jones had lived? Like,
Hmm.
what would Brian Jones have? What would the Rolling Stones have done if Brian Jones had lived? Or like, with the Who, like if Keith Moon had lived, like what would the Who be like now?
Hmm.
Like if you think about all the bands who are big, huge, who lost members, or like Leonard Skinner, like if Leonard Skinner did, if the members of Leonard Skinner hadn't died in the plane crash, where would they be now?
Hmm.
You know, but it's a debate. Like the debates with those bands are regulated to like 50 or 60-year-old people. It's it's like the Metallica debate. Like people in their 20s debating
It's every
what if
single
Cliff had.
fan that's debating
It,
it.
every every single it's like every single fucking dinner. It's like you have 20 people in their 20s debating. What if Cliff had lived? Like I haven't heard
Hmm.
one. I dare for anyone to bring up one 20 something debating like what if Brian Jones had lived? Like what would the Stones have become? Like
Yeah.
you know, like it just fascinates me. They're the
Hmm.
one band who the debate over their what ifs transcend generations. I think that's
Yeah.
the thing. That's the thing that trips me out the most. Like the what ifs about Metallica obsess people of so many generations still.
It just stems from a desire of people wanting Cliff to still be here and to still see
And
what
it's
his
so
future
pure.
would have been like.
Yeah,
Exactly,
and the
exactly.
and the band and everything were pure. Like in that era, they were pure.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
everybody can see how
be,
organic it was back then. I mean, even up
mm-hmm,
to Injustice for All, because it organically changed after Cliff leaving into this dark, heavy, almost German thrash style of thrash metal, because it was missing
yeah,
that key element of Cliff Burton. That was such an organic change. And then we have the
mm-hmm,
Black Album, which is something completely different, but it all stems from people still wanting Cliff to be around. And I mean, that's why we're here today on his birthday talking about him sharing stories and stuff. And yeah, trying to find new ones and like, okay, I've heard that one already.
right,
Let's, what else you guys got?
right. But just like again, like I'm fascinated by it all. I'm genuinely fascinated by and like in awe of the reverence of Cliff because
Hmm.
I still have that reverence.
Yeah, no, it's
You
weird for
know,
me too. Like I said, in 1998, asking strangers about Cliff Burton, then no one was talking about Cliff. Like it was me and my friends spray painting Cliff Burton, rest in peace, around. I mean, not spray painting, but putting, representing Cliff
yeah,
Burton in our artistic ways,
right,
to
right.
say the
In
least.
your own way, in your own,
Exactly,
in your
and
in your
asking
own.
everybody.
But see, again, that fascinates me. Like it,
Yeah.
if there's one thing I always kind of think about around this time of year is that like
Hmm.
we're still talking about him, and it's not like again, it's not like the high school jock sitting around the table talking about winning the state championship. It's like
Hmm.
it's still a relevant subject. It's not like it's not sad and pathetic. It's like it's a living, breathing thing,
Yeah.
and the fact that it's still it includes people from around the world now. It's even more profound.
Hmm.
People who obviously were not around at the time, but it's still resident. Like the museum in Sweden.
Yeah, a
That's
museum just
that's
opened up for a Cliff.
that's amazing. That's
Hmm.
amazing to me. And it's not like this. It's not like this weird, morbid thing. Like, oh, they they put a plaque where he died, and then like it's not like Jim Morrison's grave where you go and like it's like you know it's something like Jim Morrison's grave. Like I've been there, and it's just like okay, it's Jim Morrison's grave, and it's supposed to be this sacred place, but it just felt like another grave to me. But like the fact
Hmm.
that fans put a Cliff placard where it is doesn't resonate the same way for me. I've yet to visit it, but it doesn't resonate like something from the past. You know what I
Yeah, I
mean?
get that too. I get that, and I feel like it's different because it's a memorial stone as well too, where it's something that
Yeah,
was
yeah,
put up as a memorial. And have you visited the one in Castro Valley before?
yes. And even
Yeah,
that, like, I didn't know about it for years until like, I went there. It's like, I mean, and then it's so low key, and if you know
hmm.
about it, you know about it. And but it's not like this big. Again, it doesn't feel like it's in the past. You know what I mean? Even though it obviously is it's obviously rooted in the past, but you know, again, maybe it's, that's just me, but like everything about Cliff doesn't feel like it's in the past, even though it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
We're
because
still here.
it's relevant today.
It's
I
relevant to
mean,
something,
yeah,
but like this pancakes
yeah, we
video.
have new shirts.
It's like, but like stuff like this with a sense of humor and like it's
Hmm.
not like, it's just like, the family and like the band and everything involved around the Cliff estate, I guess. It
Hmm.
it keeps things like fun. This is
Yeah.
fun. Like the
Hmm.
pancake shirt is fun. It's not like, memorializing someone who's passed away and been gone for all these years. It's like fun. It's like
Hmm.
Cliff with pancakes, like
Yeah, and the more we deep
based
dive
on
into
like,
Clifton, we find he has a sense of humor. I mean, that
yeah,
pancake shirt is based on his sense of humor.
yeah, yeah, completely, completely.
Yeah, it's cool. Like Ray and then Casey continuing to keep Cliff's name relevant. Like they did such an amazing job that, like, I mean, a couple years ago, Cliff Burton Day was mentioned on Rolling Stone's website, the magazine.
Hmm.
Like, it's just, yeah, it's just, I feel like Cliff is more prevalent and more relevant today than ever. And even at the height of his career in '86, I think he's more famous now than back then.
Agreed. And I mean, to the credit of the family too, like Casey and Ray, like they, the way they presented or didn't present Cliff was
Hmm.
done right. It wasn't they just didn't make him like a character. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Like, any, like a dead, not to be crass, but a dead celebrity. Like,
Mm.
how dead
Hmm.
celebrities are just like Elvis or somebody, like,
Hmm.
everybody knows him.
Hmm.
Here's Cliff. Like,
Yeah.
it was, and you know, I had a conversation once with Ray about kind of all that, where, um, when he started to attend all the shows and meet fans, and I mentioned to him, like, I thought it was amazing that he was doing that, because he was pretty much almost my father's age, and he was still
Hmm.
flying around the world meeting
Yeah, going to
Metallica
metal
fans and
shows.
everything, going to shows, like, but I had a conversation with him about that, and he told me, like, for years he didn't do that, like,
Hmm.
it was,
Hmm.
his son passed away all those years ago and all that, and I can't remember what moment he told me, but it was a sort of thing where, like, he had a epiphany, basically, like he realized that him meeting fans now was their connection back to Cliff,
Hmm. Hmm.
which was, I think, which I took to be a way for him to have closure, even more closure, all these years later. And I
Hmm.
can, and like now that I see, like, how much he made an effort to go to shows worldwide, everywhere, attend everything. I can see that. I can appreciate that now. It wasn't just, like, if it was another person in another family, you could see how that would easily be like self-serving and
Hmm.
cynical. You know what I mean? Like, if it was someone else, like a Kardashian or someone like that, like, oh, like, I'm doing, it would become a self-centered thing. You know what I mean? But with
Yeah.
Ray and the family, it's always still been about keeping Cliff's memory alive in the spirit that of the person he was. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It wasn't like it with the Burton family. It's never been a self-serving thing, and I hope
Hmm.
no one ever perceives it as that, because it's not. That's what always struck me about how, especially in recent years, especially since they've been, doing like T-shirts like this, doing other things to celebrate Cliff.
Hmm.
It's not crass. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not self-serving. It's they. It's. I mean, it's really special to me that they've been able to, like, kind of move, like, create something,
Yeah.
and it doesn't come off as crass or self-serving or a money grab. It's not like that at all, and it's like, it's one of the purest kind of celebrations that I've ever
Hmm.
seen, because you see that all the time, where, like, a band or celebrity or someone, the people around him, like, okay, like they're gone, but we could fucking cash in on this.
Yeah.
You know, like this band member has been gone all these years, but like, let's just do this. And like, but it's just this, it's just thrown out there without context, or
Hmm.
it's just thrown out there.
Well, to echo your point, 100% of the revenue for these shirts, the Cliff shirts, the shirts you order that are Cliff Burton specific shirts, that all goes to a music scholarship. So that goes back into music to help children get equipment or take lessons or do whatever to nurture their gift of music. So yeah, and like you said, in no way is it self-serving. It's something that keeps Cliff's legacy and his like passion of music going forever.
And what I love about that aspect of it is also, it's not a thing. It's not like, here's our press release, and this is look how look how
Yeah.
awesome we are by
We're
doing
philanthropic, yeah.
Yeah, like we're fucking we're like Bill Gates here, giving but
We're
like
philanthropists.
I love how it's all done low key,
Mm-hmm.
and it's just done, and if you know,
Mm-hmm.
and but it's not like, it's not confidential. It's not like this secret society thing. Like, again, like the way Cliff's legacy has been been handled really means a lot. You know what I mean? Because of course it's his family, and that's how it should be.
Mm-hmm.
But to see it in practice is like, again, it keeps me engaged, and it keeps me inspired to want to talk to you. Like, it's not an effort. It's not something like, oh, I don't want to talk about that anymore, that happened all those years ago. But again, like that aspect keeps what keeps it like legitimate for me.
Mm-hmm. Right on. I'm glad we can convey the message of like, this is one, to keep Cliff memory alive, and two, it helps others as well too.
Yeah.
And not to go too deep into it, but a lot of there's some of this shirt funds are donated to health organizations and stuff to help people with physical disabilities as well too. So it goes awesome. So deep.
See, I love it, but I also love like how it's not a thing.
Yeah. No, I mean,
like why does anyone else have to know? Like why does anybody else have to know?
It's like, look how much money I put in the church collection basket today, everyone.
Exactly.
That's a 20 right there.
I'm getting into heaven because I gave, like that book. You think this might be a good time to go into like the Super 7 stuff, because it kind of dovetails what you just said. Like, it means a lot to be able, because how how people see things as crass and cynical, like, oh, they're making a Cliff Burton action figure. But the fact that we're doing it with the family, and like when, just so so you're doing your thing, and then like when we launch our pre-order for that Ultimates, there's going to be an interview. Like, we're starting a new blog series for Super 7 with interviews with different things, but we're going to post an interview with me talking about the Cliff Ultimate and talk about how we work with the family, and I mentioned in it about the scholarship fund and all that. Because and so in our world, it doesn't, it's like, oh, like, look at this company making action figures of Cliff Burton, like, oh, like everything's done with the family's blessing, the family approves everything, and it's like, no, not everything is cynical. And
definitely. Well, that's cool that we get to like even clarify it to anybody watching, because like you said, we don't make it super well known, but we're not hiding it either. But we're just not promoting it as like, buy these shirts. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
we're trying to make this as like good as possible.
And like I think that just the fact that saying it benefits the Cliff Burton music scholarship, whatever, that should be enough for people. But the fact that it goes deeper is like even more awesome.
Yeah, I can think of 4 charities that this money goes to, and it's all relevant to the Burton family. Like, it's pretty cool, the conversations I've had.
See, that's amazing. See, that sort of thing gives me a chill down my spine. Still, like,
it's all specific to each Burton family. It's really beautiful.
I love it. So do you want to talk about the Super 7 thing and like,
Yeah, let's take it.
you know,
So check it out.
so well, I do want to push these because, you know, we launched them last year around Cliff Burton Day, but they sold out in a second, sort of
The
deal.
day of, correct?
Yeah. So like by the time I talked to you and the thing aired, like the figures are gone.
You were like, hey,
So
go buy these figures, and sold out.
and they were gone. So like a year later, at least like, you know, people can go and buy this one, and the Kill 'Em All one will be available again soon.
We'll keep it super smooth, but I do want to say before we move on to some other big news that maybe in 4 years, on the 40th anniversary of Master of Puppets, we can get a third cardstock version of Master of Puppets version of that Cliff figure right there. Because I got my two right there. I'm looking at them right there, and it's like we got Kill 'Em All and Ride the Lightning, dude. You got to have a Master of Puppets one.
Yep. Super 7 is a collector toy company based in San Francisco, and a lot of what we do is music based. And you know, in the past, we've done action figures with Iron Maiden, we've done Lemmy and Motorhead, Slay. We've worked with Slayer, all the metal. You know, a lot of the metal heroes who I followed when I was a kid. But you know, one of the key collaborations we've done was with Cliff. So last year, as you remember, like we launched the Cliff action figure, the 3.75-inch action figure, and so the reaction figures for Super 7, they're based on the old Star Wars reaction figures from the 70s, the 3.75-inch action figure. So it's like the sort of thing where the reaction figures are a what if product, where it's like, what if you went into a Toys R Us in 1985 and there was a fucking Cliff Burton reaction figure on the shelf next to a Star Wars figure. So that's kind of been the inspiration of what we do, where we do like our retro packaging and that sort of thing. So it's not like where some companies in our space, you know, we're going to do a Cliff Burton figure, and then it'd be like that. But like the Super 7 kind of approach to things is like we look at it like almost like a time machine, like especially with something like Cliff, where it's like a time machine product. Where like, what if there had been Cliff Burton reaction figures available in 1985, and you could go into a Toys R Us and it would be right up there with a Boba Fett figure. So that's kind of our thought. So like, you know, a year ago we released the Cliff what is it? Oop, the reaction figure, and it's like this first one was the Ride the Lightning color theme. We have like one of Harold's photos on the back. It was really special to me. And kind of like another full circle geek moment is Ed Repka did the painting of Cliff. And for metal fans who know Ed Repka, he did the first Megadeth album covers of Peace Cells, you know, all the iconic album covers by Megadeth and the band Death, and a lot of iconic metal album covers. So Ed Repka did the artwork for Cliff. So that's a full circle nerd moment for me. And so like, you know, we kind of revealed it last year with us talking, and for better or worse, it sold out before our segment broadcast. So I just want to say, like, you know, it's available again. This one is available again if you go to super7.com or even metallica.com. The band's web stores has it in stock. Super7.com has it in stock. So it's available now. And then also over the last year, we released this version of the figure that's on a card that is a tribute to Kill 'Em All. So it's more the red color scheme, but it has a foil. It has the foil for the Burton logo. So this one that came out last year as well, and it sold out immediately. But this one will be coming back in stock as well in the next couple of months. So you know, with these releases, again, it's been, you know, for me, it's been full circle because I've worked with Casey and the family on approvals, and you know, and again, you know, the sales from them benefit the Cliff Music Scholarship Fund. So that's a special thing because, you know, it's a type of thing where I know a lot of a lot of other companies in our space would love to work on a Cliff Burton action figure.
Hmm.
And I feel very fortunate in, like, you know, a relationship that started in 1983 is has come around full circle, where, you know, it's a sort of thing where, like, it's something that I'm doing not only benefits the company that I work for, but it, you know, in this case, it benefits Cliff's family and their
Hmm.
interests, and you know, it benefits Cliff. And it's kind of a, you know, it's kind of one of those situations where I don't take for granted, where, you know, if you had told me in 1983, like, you know, you'll be working for a toy company and you will be releasing a Cliff Burton action figure, like, you know, like, it's the sort of thing where, like, how can you even comprehend something like that? And, like, it's a sort of thing where, like,
Hmm.
the fact that it's not a crass thing. It's something that, you know, yes, we're making an action figure and it's a toy or whatever, but it's benefiting the greater good of Cliff's
Hmm.
legacy at this point.
And then it's actually done by a friend of Cliff, someone who cares so deeply about Cliff and his story. It makes me feel good that it's in your hands, opposed to a big conglomerate, without mentioning names, something that's not going to handle it with the type of care and admiration that you and Super Seven are doing.
But it's pretty amazing, and, like, you know, from our whole company feels the same way. And it's like,
Cool.
you know, it's a type of thing where, like, you know, who would, you know, it's one of those kind of relationships, for better lack of a better term, like, between Super Seven working with the Burton family, like, you know, it in
Hmm.
this cynical day and age where people just think things are about money
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
self-serving interests. Like, we're able to do something in our space that, you know, it helps our business because, you know, to be honest, you know, the Cliff action figure is very popular. It, you know, we
Hmm.
sell it to we don't know we sell it direct ourselves. The Metallica web store sells it, but not only that, but independent uh, record stores, comic book stores, toy stores are carrying Cliff as well. So it's a
Hmm.
sort of thing where, like, the image of Cliff is in all these spaces, literally worldwide. You know,
Hmm.
not just stores, not just independent stores in America, but everywhere across the world who, you know, can obtain our stuff via wholesale.
Hmm.
Um, it's benefiting the family on a worldwide basis, but it's also kind of putting Cliff in front of all these different cultures and people worldwide who, you know, again, it's like what we talked about before. It's like this, he's all, you know, he's mythological to some people,
Hmm.
to, you know, and the fact that, you know, someone in France or Europe or Asia, you know, is a fan of Cliff, and then we have, you know, an action figure of him, which is, you know, it's like a totem, it's like whatever, it's like something, you know, to put with the rest of your collectibles or whatever. But the
Hmm.
fact that this one benefits the family directly is pretty special. You know, it's not
Hmm.
like, you know, it's nothing crass or anything like that, and that's really important to me. You know, when I, you know, with Super Seven, thankfully, you know, our owner and everybody involved with our company, it's are like-minded. You
Hmm.
know, we're basically a family-run company sort of deal. And, like, you know, when I first brought up the opportunity to maybe perhaps doing something based on Cliff and work with the family, like, they immediately understood what it was. But the fact that there was, like, this other aspect to what we would do with working with Cliff made it even more special. You know, the
Hmm.
fact that it would benefit people rather than just, like, you know, any other release would just be benefiting us and,
Hmm.
you know, whoever. You know, some of our properties
Yeah.
are owned by major corporations, which is fine, you know, and that's that world. But the fact that, you know, we could do something of the same thing, the same, you know, the same type of product, the same distribution, whatever, but it would benefit the Burton family's interests
Yeah.
directly is, like, you know, astounding to me. It really is. It's especially in this day and age where things can be so cynical and
Hmm.
self-serving. You know,
Yeah.
it's really special to me that to be involved in something like this.
Very cool. Very cool. Like I said, I'm happy that it's in your hands and it's being handled with love, to say the least.
And not just me, but as far as Super 7 goes, our creative, the designer whose work who was directly involved with the Cliff figure is a fan and gets it. So like the people involved on our side, as far as the design, the packaging, everything, they're all invested. And so it's not just like a real, there's nothing cynical or anything like, there's nothing cynical or, not negative, but, there's nothing like by the numbers with this release. Like, everybody involved, at least on the Super 7 side, the staff who are assigned to designing the packaging or the staff who was assigned to design the figure, they were assigned the projects because they know who Cliff is. And it's I think it's a really unique situation where it's not just, if it was another situation, it would, a Cliff action figure, whatever, if it even came to being produced, it would just be a widget to a lot of other companies or whoever, and that's just the nature of, toys, merchandise, whatever, it's easy just to produce widgets to make money.
This one's handled with care for sure.
And this one's, with care, but motivated for the right reasons. I guess is what I'm trying to say. Like, obviously money is a thing, because it's a thing, but money, the way the money is being generated and whatever allocated, whatever, isn't crass, and it isn't cynical. It's being done for reasons that go right back to, Cliff's spirit and what everyone knows and what everyone believes, the whole kind of aura around Cliff and the Burtons is. It's like it's not like this fake made up marketing thing, Cliff, if you read the press release, Cliff was like this, and so he must have been like that. And he's the one icon of a generation who really was like that.
Yeah, he was a genuine dude, and that's why
he was a genuine dude.
Towards him.
Yeah, and again, whatever we're doing now honors and respects and is an extension of that, and it's it's still magical to me. It really is. So with Super 7, previously with Cliff, we've done the 3.75 inch, the kind of traditional action figure. So another kind of form factor we work with is a 7-inch action figure. We call it, our version of it is called the Ultimates. And so like with the Ultimates figure, it's kind of meant to be the ultimate representation of the subject in the 7-inch form. And that means it has multiple accessories, kind of deluxe packaging, kind of high-end sculpting in a 7-inch form. And in the past we've done everything from Masters of the Universe, kind of like more mainstream pop culture subjects. We've done Lemmy, we've done King Diamond, we've done the Slayer No Mercy Minotaur. And so this year we're launching today for Cliff's birthday, we're launching the Cliff Ultimates figure.
Very cool. Let's take a quick look at this. So look at that, the packaging.
So, part of Super 7, part of our thing is, we kind of, it's not just, again, it's not a crap. We try not to make something that's crass and just cheap looking. Like, packaging is as important to us as the actual product. And so with the Cliff figure, our design team, I think, nailed it. The design, our designers involved, like, know Cliff, understand Cliff. And, they kind of asked me for a direction, but they nailed it out of the gate. So obviously, you know, the denim. So this is a slip cover over the
Hmm.
packaging. So this will be the slip cover, and you know, the denim, the nod to Cliff's bell bottoms and denim jacket is
Yeah, the
obvious.
worn denim, and it looks like one of
Mhm.
the buttons on there is a Super 7 logo. That's
Yeah,
so
so
clean.
like because you know we have to have our logos on there, but you know, again, they kind of it's a it's a nod to the buttons that Cliff had on his denim
Hmm.
jacket, the round skull buttons.
Ah, it looks amazing. All right, let's take another look and see what else we got here. There it
So
is right
that's
there. Boom.
so just to be clear, so what this is the way our Ultimates releases work. It's a pre-order. So what
Hmm.
that means is we take pre-orders for a certain amount of time, usually 30 days, and based on the orders that are received, that is what's manufactured. That's what produced. So that's what keeps the figures being limited edition. Where um, what most of other kind of collector toy companies do is they make a certain amount of a figure, and then that's what determines how limited a figure is.
Hmm.
But our way of doing things is it's different where we do it as a pre-order, and then like it's open to fans or whoever wants to order it for 30 days usually, and once
Hmm.
that time period is closed, that's what determines how limited the figure is. So
Mm.
in that way we try to eliminate flippers and you know
Hmm.
people trying to sell things after the fact, where you know I think in some cases when things that are called limited are just produced out of the gate with a certain quantity,
Hmm.
that's when they end up on eBay for way more than people should be paying for.
Hmm.
So our way of trying to prevent flipping on the back end is to allow people to buy it in advance in this way. And so like, you know, you have 30 days, you can pre-order it, and then once that pre-order period is closed, that's how many figures are made. So hopefully everybody who wants a Cliff Ultimates figure will get one, will be able to order one, and that will prevent flipping when they're delivered. So usually the delivery time for our Ultimates figures is 6 months or so. Um, because what happens, so once a pre-order closes, that's when we start development, and there's a lot
Mm.
involved with creating a figure of this complexity. So, you know, 3D sculpts have 3D prototypes have to be made, and then we share them with the family. In this case, we'll share them with the Burton family for approval, and then
Hmm.
from the 3D prototypes, then it's this long process where it's called tooling. So that's when the molds are created for a figure, and literally the molds for a figure of this size, um, they're metal molds. It's not. People think sometimes like you just can print these as a 3D printer. In this case, a proper toy manufacturing, especially in a figure of this complexity, the mold is literally a mold almost the size of a car in some cases,
Mm.
where it's the so there's a prototype made of the figure, and from that is a mold is made. It's basically a block of steel that's made into the mold, just like old school steel mill films that you've seen over the years, and then from
Hmm.
those, that's where the plastic is melted and injected into the mold to create each piece, and it's a very time
Wow.
consuming process. And you know it's done overseas, for better or worse. It's done overseas mainly because of the cost involved. There's when you're dealing, and to be honest, the labor involved. I mean it's a labor intensive process, even though it seems like it's something to a lot of people is trivial and kind of a throwaway item, but like
Hmm.
anything that's made like this, it requires a good deal of manufacturing and, to be honest, like factory time and manpower. So anyway, so that's kind of like the process. So generally our time frame is 6 months or so from the time a pre-order closes to delivery. And once it's delivered, if you order it directly from Super 7, it'll be sent directly to your doorstep. And then we also have retail partners online
Hmm.
who will also are participating in this. So it just so people are clear, it's not something you pay for now and you get tomorrow. It's a pre-order situation, and at the end of the day, though, the final product will be amazing.
Very
And
cool.
during the pre-order, during the development process, we will share updates about how the production is going. So I know to a lot of people who usually buy these things, it's a little different way of purchasing something,
Hmm.
but in this way, we're able to do kind of this level of figure and do it properly and not have to worry about the risk, to be honest, because
Hmm.
involved just because it's a made to order item, so we know exactly how many we're making and they're already spoken for.
Okay, so is this packaging pretty much what it's going to look like when we get it later on this year?
Yeah, so this is a mock-up, but this is what the approved packaging is, and when it's all said and done, it will be even more. It will obviously in real life it will be more dramatic with
Yeah, I love
the
the Mesa Boogie looking Cliff Burton amps in the background. That looks so cool, and homage to him playing Mesas back in the
yeah.
day.
So everything everything in the packaging, everything has been kind of thought out. The Ride the Lightning theme,
Hmm.
the Mesa Boogie theme, as you mentioned, and this the accessories we chose. Um, there's so with this with our Ultimates figures, we try to offer a variety of accessories, including interchangeable heads and hands.
Hmm.
So with Cliff, there are three different heads. There's a head banging head, and the figure will be fully posable. So you can have the foot on monitor. Excuse me. Um, there are eight. Hold on a
Hmm.
second. There are eight interchangeable hands, and the various, for holding his base, for holding, um, for gesturing, and there's also one hand with him flipping the bird for the
Hmm.
the
Good
classic Cliff
touch.
flipping the bird. Good touch. And then
Hmm.
we also included the hammer. I mean, most
Hmm.
fans will associate the hammer with Kill 'Em All, but you know,
It's his own
in real
personal little hammer he carried with him.
right. I mean, I don't know how many fans know, but in real life, at one point in the early days, Cliff actually carried a hammer with him
Hmm.
to, you know, destroy things whenever he saw fit. So again, we're fortunate, Super Seven working with the family. We can kind of, we could offer a Cliff figure, that has that kind of deep cut detail that maybe someone else wouldn't even know or care about. And then
Hmm.
also, to, uh, which is another great aspect of our relationships, our Super Seven's other relationships is, we've worked with the Misfits on many different releases, and they've allowed us to use the Misfits shirt for Cliff, and
Hmm.
it's not an issue for us to use it, and it's authorized and it's legitimate, and Cliff without a Misfits shirt wouldn't be right.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
again, we're able to offer the details that are important.
Yeah, definitely the Misfit shirt. And the other little thing I see, the really great detail right here is on his right hand, his pinky is down. And I don't know that everybody knows, but it was messed up in a fishing accident where he couldn't
Excuse me.
bend his pinky. So it looked like he was always giving the metal horn when he was playing bass. So that little attention to detail right there is just amazing.
Again, credit to our design department for picking up on those details. I mean, a lot of research went into the development of the Cliff figure. And even the finger that he has his skull rings,
Hmm.
and you compose them with the iconic dual fists type of deal. So again, the attention to detail is something that we take very seriously, and especially with something like Cliff. For me personally, it was even more important. And, we
Mhm.
also, there's also, his base is included with a strap. So, there are various ways you'll be able to pose Cliff if you want, and then at the same time, the packaging complements everything. So,
Mhm.
again,
Ye-
our the way Super 7, and then that's our render of like how the figure will look in its final form. You'll be able to pose him with foot on monitor, and then also, you can pose him just standing with his hammer.
Yeah, it looks great. I mean, it looks like it would be fully posable, different expressions, different
Mhm.
accessories, like in yeah, the attention to detail. But yeah, this thing looks amazing. So people have a limited time to order it. So it's February 10th to 30 days after that. Is that
Yeah,
correct?
that's generally our pre-order time. So if you go to super7.com, there'll be more details. There's a payment plan. Um, we try to be as flexible as we can because we understand, being doing a pre-order, ordering something that you won't receive for months down the line is a challenge.
Hmm.
But we try to offer it in a way where fans who want something like the Cliff figure can obtain it.
Gotcha, gotcha. Well, this is really cool, especially that it's being released on his birthday, and yeah, that we get to show these photos here on Cliff Burton Day. So yeah, bravo to Super Seven and everybody involved for making this figure come to life. Cool, right on, dude. Well, I definitely appreciate it,
Okay.
and maybe I'll see you at the next metal show in town.
Yeah, man, and stay in touch in between as well.
For sure, definitely.
All right. Well, good luck with the production.
Thanks, dude. Hope you
All right.
enjoy it this year. I'll
I'm
talk to
sure I
you
will.
talk to you soon.
All right. Take care.
All right, peace.
Bye.